for accidents. It ain't even no 911.
Why you let somebody play with me like that?
Why? No, King changed for other reasons and he ain't got good sense. You see what I'm saying?
Is that nigga not give us a question?
Everybody know King ain't got, you know what I'm saying? He ain't got all his marbles.
I'm the only one on here who got bad-ass kids.
We all go through
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you ain't got no bad-ass kids, you got one and you got lucky. You hear me? Anybody with 3 or more,
multiples,
you got one that you don't know what the hell.
King Harris spent years telling the world he was really standing on business, but the second those prison doors slammed shut, that loud confidence faded fast. Behind cold concrete walls, the so-called Prince of Trap learned a brutal lesson the hard way. Fame, money, and a famous last name mean nothing when the streets don't respect you. And now, a powerful gang figure has stepped forward, breaking his silence and exposing what really went down behind bars. And trust me, the details are way darker than anyone expected.
Say this, first and foremost, there's no shame, no embarrassment in getting packed out, getting beat up. As long as you fight, you're respected. Now, did King fight? We don't know. I'm gonna tell you my personal opinion about T.I.'s son, King.
Rumors are flying that King's legal team is scrambling behind the scenes, pushing hard for an early release, spinning narratives and calling in every favor possible. Some whispers even claim certain connections are quietly pulling strings, hoping for a smooth exit nobody notices. But whether this is a real shot at freedom or just a desperate attempt at a transfer, one message is clear. King Harris wants out of that cell, and he wants out bad. Because once the cameras stopped rolling and the doors locked, flashy cars and viral bravado couldn't save him. Inside that unit, nobody cared who his family was or what legacy he carried. According to a well-known Atlanta gang figure who just put everything on blast, that "I'm built for this" energy vanished instantly. The truth came out raw. King isn't made for that life. He glorified it from the outside, but he's not a soldier. Fear set in fast, and that fear spread through the block like wildfire. This isn't just another headline about a celebrity kid slipping up. This is a brutal, unfiltered look at what happens when privilege crashes straight into prison politics.
What you want to take pictures of me? From here?
Yeah, I'm from here. Yeah, I'm from here.
All right, so. Oh, hell, y'all, let's go.
What's up with you, bro? What's up with you, bro?
Let's go.
Put your hand around me, talking out your ass like you want to do something. What's up, bro?
Oh, Lord.
What's up, bro?
Nothing.
What? Wow. Relax, or what?
Nothing.
Or what? Or what?
Nothing.
Or what? Because you just tried to
This could be a good
Get about your business, my nigga. Get about your business, my nigga.
The whole illusion of standing on business collapsed. Now King's name doesn't echo with respect in the yard. It gets whispered with laughter. And before this story wraps, you'll hear exactly why one gang figure decided to humiliate him so publicly in front of inmates, guards, and even people who once admired him. It was cold, it was personal, and the pod hasn't stopped talking since. But before that moment, we have to rewind to where this downfall really started. That infamous traffic stop that triggered a chain reaction straight into custody. On the surface, it looked minor, just another flashy kid in a BMW making an illegal turn. Nothing serious. But within seconds, that routine stop turned into a full-blown nightmare. Police ran his name and everything shifted instantly. There was a warrant, there were weapons, and suddenly the son of Atlanta royalty was face down on the pavement, cuffed, surrounded by flashing blue lights. The smell of weed hung heavy in the air. The tension was thick.
Like, I don't have no gang. I ain't in no gang. I got family. I got motherfuckers who willing to risk their lives and freedom to die by me and mine. You hear me? Why don't f***ing play with me, man? Don't play with my motherfucking child, ever.
And King Harris, the same guy who flexed online about standing on business, was being warned to keep his hands still, no questions asked. That's when the fantasy shattered completely. This wasn't a music video or an Instagram moment. This was real life, crashing down hard. Here's the twist, though. King didn't explode. He didn't scream, curse, or throw a fit. Officers later admitted he stayed calm, almost polite. But calm doesn't erase consequences. That moment marked the start of everything unraveling fast. He played it cool while the cameras were watching, but what came next separated a performer from someone built to survive real pressure. Staying calm in front of police is one thing. Holding your ground behind locked doors is a whole different story. And that's exactly where the mask slipped. Once those cell doors clanged shut, the whispers started moving through the block like static.
That when you come to jail, everybody jealous of what you done had in your life. That's just part of the culture.
The same guy who used to bark tough online suddenly looked out of place in real time. According to insiders, the so-called trap prince wasn't moving like a soldier at all. He looked shaken, unsure, uncomfortable. And that gang leader's revelation sliced straight through the fake image. When the power dynamics flipped, even the online world noticed the shift. Commentators who usually defend young rappers stopped capping and started asking real questions. DJ Academics, known for his blunt delivery, said King seemed obsessed with proving he was street and questioned why someone raised in wealth, fame, and protection would chase that image so hard.
I'm so puzzled why King feels the desire, need, want to be considered a street dude that badly. Why is he so obsessed with the struggle, with the life of being a street dude? Street dudes ain't really winning.
You wanted to go over there. You cried and cried and cried when you couldn't go over there.
We done got big house, big yard, nothing to do.
But you want to be for...
To a lot of people watching, it just didn't add up. This was someone born into luxury, private drivers, security, doors opening on demand, yet still desperate to belong to a lifestyle most people spend their lives trying to escape. That contrast alone had folks shaking their heads. This wasn't rebellion anymore. It looked like confusion wrapped in ego. King Harris had access to everything money could unlock, yet he chased the one door that slammed shut the hardest, a prison cell. Once the public meltdown started and that tough guy shell began cracking, it became impossible to ignore. The warning signs were already there, especially that heated confrontation with his own father. Cameras caught it all as a family argument spiraled into something deeper and uncomfortable.
Motherfucking way. They got the wrong man, wrong guy. What the fuck is that? They got drones flying and shit.
And he told me that it was okay. That's the only time. Any other time, I don't even call the police for accidents. It ain't even no 911 call with my voice on it. I don't break in my house.
I can't judge how the parenting is gone, because everything that we've seen has been stuff that many of us would have said or similar if we saw our children do this. But I will say this. A lot of what's happening is because it's in the public, most children.
Raw insecurity dressed up as defiance. King kept repeating, standing on business, trying to sound like the person he wanted the world to believe he was. But to millions watching, it didn't look powerful at all. It looked like a young man fighting his father's shadow, desperate to be feared instead of guided. And that's exactly why the gang leader's words cut so deep inside those prison walls. There were no cameras, no PR spin, no live stream to flip the narrative. Inside, it was all about survival. According to insiders, when King stepped onto that cold block, his last name had weight, but his own name didn't carry respect. Whispers spread fast through the pod. People noticed the hesitation, the forced confidence, the nervous looks that told the real story. Then came the account from an Atlanta street figure with zero loyalty to the Harris name. The scene he described was so detailed and humiliating, it shook the whole facility. Allegedly, King broke under pressure, folding when faced with real consequences.
Yes, sir. There's one in the head. Does your buddy have one as well? All right, just hang tight right here for me. Let me clear this. I don't want any accidental fires.
There's no safety, you got to take.
No safety.
The story exploded beyond the prison, straight into Atlanta. The streets laughed. Blogs went crazy. And suddenly, that crash-out attitude didn't look like courage anymore. It looked like a role that couldn't survive behind steel bars. When the gang leader finally dropped the last word, that cold, razor-sharp truth, the entire illusion collapsed instantly. The myth of King Harris, the tough street kid who stood on business, evaporated on the spot. What came next wasn't just gossip, it was exposure. And we're diving straight into what was said, how it spread like wildfire, and why King Harris is now walking a razor's edge between public embarrassment and real danger behind those walls. Here's what most people don't understand about jail politics. Respect is never handed out, it's taken. Outside shine doesn't matter. Bank accounts don't matter. Designer chains don't matter. Follower counts don't matter. And your parents definitely don't matter. Inside those cold, fluorescent-lit cells, there's only one currency: respect. The second those doors slam shut, all that matters is how you carry yourself when nobody is there to protect your image. And that's where King Harris stumbled hard. The mask didn't just slip, it shattered. According to people close to intake, the same kid who strutted online acting untouchable suddenly looked lost. No entourage, no cameras, no jewelry. Just a scared young man realizing his father's fame couldn't buy him an ounce of credibility in a place built on survival. The swagger vanished fast, replaced by harsh reality. The contrast was painful. This was the same king who branded himself fearless and unstoppable, a young man born to command respect, until the real world closed in. Even his own mother, Tiny, casually exposed the truth with a comment that hit harder than any diss track ever could. It wasn't hate, it was honesty. A mother seeing through the act and saying what everyone already knew. That small moment said everything. Her son was still searching for who he really was. Then came T.I.'s frustration, a father watching his son crash into the very world he warned him about, not as a diss, but disbelief, asking why his son wanted to be from the streets so badly when he wasn't raised there. And that's the wild part. King wasn't born in the trenches, he chased them. He wanted that street stamp so badly he tried to manufacture it. But here's the brutal truth. Real street dudes can smell pretense from a mile away. They know who's there because they had no choice, and who's there because they thought it looked cool. And when you fall into that second category, you become the easiest target in the room. That's why when the gang leader finally spoke up, people listened. He wasn't just clowning King, he confirmed what the culture already suspected. The stand-on-business persona collapses when there's no camera rolling. Inside those walls, nobody is impressed by internet talk. But this story cuts deeper than just King Harris. It exposes a contradiction that's been brewing for years. T.I. branded himself as a reformed hustler, preaching growth, accountability, and staying away from street traps. Yet here was his own son sprinting headfirst into the same chaos, doing it with a smugness that almost mocked everything his father stood for. The world watched father and son screaming on Instagram Live, King yelling, "Why you letting somebody play with me like that?" While T.I. stood there, not angry, just exhausted. It wasn't power, it wasn't respect, it was chaos caught on camera. Entertainment for the internet, embarrassment for the family, and a warning sign of what was coming. Because in prison, someone is always ready to test you. And when that gang leader later exposed how King allegedly reacted to those first tests, the internet went nuclear. Not because it was shocking, but because it confirmed what people already believed. King Harris was all bark, no bite. Platforms played a role too. Bloggers and media didn't just report King's behavior, they amplified it. chaos became currency. DJ academics turned petty arrests into full-blown sagas, half mocking, half encouraging. Jokes about what King would need to do to be a real gangster sounded like humor, but to a young, impressionable mind, that noise becomes validation. Every repost, every viral clip fed the delusion. So when the cell doors clanked shut and the cameras disappeared, all that energy vanished. The talk stopped. The confidence dissolved. In that world, nobody cares about followers, only fear. That's why the gang leader's words hit like a dagger. He didn't just call King out, he stripped away the last layer of illusion. According to him, King wasn't feared, he wasn't respected, he was scared. And in prison, fear is blood in the water. Once inmates sense it, the hunt starts fast. The psychological damage is real. Imagine convincing the world you're a lion only to freeze when you step into the jungle. It doesn't just bruise your ego, it wipes out your credibility. And for King Harris, credibility was the only currency he had left. Without it, everything he built online crumbled. And this was only the beginning. Gossip moves faster than contraband. One whispered story turns into a legend before lunchtime. When the gang leader finally spoke, he painted a picture so vivid that even King's loudest defenders went silent. Insiders say King didn't walk into custody humble. He walked in like his last name was armor, chest out, chin high. But the moment he realized nobody cared who his father was, everything shifted. Confidence drained, nerves kicked in, the room felt it. And when he was allegedly tested, shoulder bump, quick shove, cold words, "You stand on business, right? Let's see it." That's where it fell apart. According to the account, King froze, just for a second. But in prison, that second is everything. Fear spread instantly. The same guy yelling online suddenly wanted out of that business altogether. Worse, he allegedly tried to talk his way out, name-dropping, leaning on privilege, and inside, that's the fastest way to lose respect. By dinner, it wasn't serious anymore. It was a joke. Inmates mocked him, copied his voice, replayed the moment he hesitated. The fearless image evaporated into laughter echoing through the halls.
That humiliation didn't stay inside. It leaked. Phone calls, blogs, podcasts, memes. Old clips flipped into punchlines. The internet feasted. His slogan became his downfall. And underneath the noise, one question lingered. Why expose him at all? Simple. Credibility. Putting King on blast wasn't personal. It was power. A reminder that the streets don't bend for fame, money, or family ties. But for King, the fallout is brutal. Barely 20, carrying a famous last name, desperate to prove himself, and now his lowest moment is public. Every move from here on gets filtered through that humiliation because people don't remember redemption. They remember the first crack, the first freeze, the first time the mask slipped. And for King Harris, that's the label he's battling now. Not just behind those walls, but everywhere his name travels. Once the world starts laughing, it's almost impossible to make them take you seriously again. That's the cold reality of reputation. Once it cracks, it rarely repairs. For King, that first impression was fatal. The moment the gang leader spoke, it felt like his fate was locked in. What made it hit harder was how perfectly the story matched what people already believed. His father publicly calling him out for wanting the street life too badly. His mother saying he lacked judgment. Those moments flooded back instantly. His emotional blow-ups on live, yelling about respect while clearly overwhelmed and lost. It all painted the image of someone trying way too hard to be something he wasn't. So when the gang leader said King allegedly froze inside, it didn't sound far-fetched. It sounded confirmation. That's why the streets accepted it so fast. It fit the version of King Harris that had already been created. So where does that leave him now? Is King Harris stuck wearing the label of someone mocked on the inside and roasted on the outside? Or does he still have one last shot to flip the narrative and reclaim his name before it's too late? Because let's be clear, this fallout was catastrophic. What started as quiet cell block whispers
quickly became Atlanta's hottest topic once the blogs caught wind. And the second social media got a hold of it, everything went nuclear. Memes everywhere, reaction videos nonstop, jokes flooding timelines. Clips of King yelling at his father got chopped up and reposted with captions mocking his alleged breakdown. Old moments where he screamed, "I stand on business," got flipped into TikToks with captions like, "Business closed early." The internet turned his own words into a permanent punchline. The most ruthless edit of all showed a split screen. One side, King yelling, "I stand on business," the other, a laugh track saying, "But not in prison." It was savage. But truth be told, people had doubted his toughness long before this. For months, critics said he was chasing a life that was never his. The gang leader's revelation just became the missing piece, the proof they felt they needed. But while the internet laughed, the Harris family felt the weight. This storm didn't just hit King, it hit everyone connected to him. T.I. was suddenly stuck in an impossible position. For years, he preached growth, accountability, and staying out of the traps that ruin lives. Now, he was watching his own son become the symbol of everything he warned against. The irony was brutal.
Fans who once praised T.I.'s wisdom started clowning him for failing at home. And to make it worse, private family tension had already been turned into public entertainment. Arguments, lies, confrontations, disrespect, all aired out for the world to see. So when the gang leader's claims went public, it didn't just make King look bad, it made T.I. look powerless. The world no longer saw a father guiding his son. They saw a legend losing control of his legacy. And that's why this situation hit so hard. This stopped being about a scared young man in a jail cell and turned into something much bigger, a collision of fame, family, and failure, all exposed once the cameras stopped rolling. The image of T.I. as the calm, disciplined patriarch took a serious hit as his son spiraled in public. Here was a man who built an empire, mentored a generation, and preached accountability, yet couldn't stop his own bloodline from becoming a cautionary tale. For millions watching, that cut deeper than any diss track ever could. Then Tiny's past comments resurfaced, like ghosts pulled straight from the internet vault. Fans dug them up, clipped them next to the gang leader's account, and turned them into viral receipts, suggesting even his own mother saw the warning signs. What once sounded like a frustrated parent speaking truth suddenly became evidence in a public trial. This wasn't family drama anymore, it became a cultural spectacle. But the most disturbing part of this fallout wasn't the memes or the jokes, it was the danger. Because once the story spread that King looked scared, everything inside those prison walls shifted instantly. Every pod heard it, every inmate knew the label, and once that label sticks in jail, it changes everything. Weakness becomes currency. Sometimes it's manipulation, sometimes it's pressure to run errands, do favors, or hand over commissary. Other times it's mental warfare, constant taunts, and non-stop reminders of your lowest moment. All of it is dangerous. King Harris is now walking a razor's edge, where one wrong move could turn humiliation into something far worse. The bravado that once boosted his image is now his biggest liability. In that environment, fear doesn't just make you vulnerable, it defines your future. And the streets don't forget. Even if King walked free tomorrow, even if he returned to luxury cars, studio sessions, and designer chains, this story would still follow him through Atlanta like a shadow. In a culture where credibility is sacred and reputation is everything, being labeled scared in prison is a scar that never fades. That stain doesn't just hit King, it chips away at the entire family name. It dents the image T.I. spent decades building and reshapes how the culture views every other celebrity kid trying to prove they're real.
King isn't the first to chase a struggle he never had, and he won't be the last. But his fall has been one of the most public and most avoidable we've seen. The saddest part is it didn't have to end this way. Authenticity doesn't come from pretending to be broken. It comes from knowing exactly who you are. Zooming out, this story becomes bigger than one family. It's a mirror reflecting a dangerous trend in modern culture, the glorification of struggle by people who never lived it. Kids born into wealth idolizing pain they never felt. Sons of kings playing trenches. That's not street life, that's street cosplay. And in real life, pretending comes with consequences. The streets don't care about followers, famous parents, interviews, or clout. When the doors close and the lights flicker, all that matters is heart. And for King Harris, that heart got tested in the harshest way possible. When fantasy crashes into reality like it did here, the results are devastating. The illusion burns off, leaving nothing but uncomfortable truth. Even DJ Academics, in one of his unfiltered moments, called this out with brutal honesty. He mocked King for flexing petty arrests like trophies, saying it was wild for someone born into privilege to act like the streets hardened him. And here's the part nobody expected. Those words weren't just commentary, they were prophecy. That obsession with being feared instead of understood pushed King straight into the situation that exposed him. So where does that leave the self-proclaimed Prince of Trap now? On one hand, this humiliation could be a turning point. He could accept reality, admit the streets were never his lane, and pivot towards something real. Education, opportunity, the platform he was born into. Because real strength isn't pretending to be tough, it's owning who you are. But let's be honest, does anyone really believe he'll do that? History says otherwise. Every time King gets embarrassed, checked, or criticized, his reaction has been the same. Double down, get louder, posture harder. Keep insisting he's standing on business, even when everyone watching knows that business is broken. That's what makes this story tragic. The more he fights for an image that's already shattered, the deeper he digs. The gang leader's revelation didn't just humiliate him, it trapped him. From now on, everything King does will be judged through one question: is he overcompensating? Every lyric, every post, every confrontation. If he talks tough, they'll say he's forcing it. If he acts humble, they'll say he's scared. That jail story follows him everywhere. And here's the cruel irony. For someone obsessed with respect, this is the worst prison of all. Not steel bars, but public perception. When reputation shatters, even freedom doesn't feel free. You're constantly fighting a story the world already believes. So the real question is whether redemption is even possible. Can King Harris climb out of the hole he created? Or has the internet already decided his fate? Because once you're publicly exposed, mocked, and stripped of your image, the path back to credibility isn't just uphill, it's nearly vertical. Some people do rebuild, we've seen it happen. But for King Harris, the climb is much steeper. This wasn't a misunderstanding or a rumor, it was the mirror image of the identity he spent years selling. King didn't just lose credibility, he lost his foundation. The persona built on toughness and fearlessness was dismantled in front of the world. And in Atlanta, in hip-hop, and online, that kind of stain doesn't wash away with apologies or PR. Once the streets stop believing you, the cameras stop mattering. Clout fades, followers move on, and your name becomes a punchline whispered by the same crowd that once cheered. That's the real punishment. Not jail time, not memes, but losing respect on both sides. One thing is clear. The gang leader's words didn't just expose King Harris, they defined him. Unless he rewrites his story, that definition follows him forever. He won't be remembered as the fearless prince of trap. He'll be remembered as the kid who stood on business until the business stood on him. And that's the final tragedy of this saga, a cautionary tale of how the hunger for validation can turn into the very downfall someone was trying to avoid.